too expensive, we're staying at room 13. Usually airy and usually very, and that's just how my life goes. And I don't ever try to dress to impress. Fuck you, preppy asshole. On the 14th floor and a bathroom door don't lie. So happy we don't gotta worry about the cops. We could all get arrested for this, but when the bodies mix, I don't give a shit tonight. Alright. Now she walks in the bedroom fast, despite all the noise from the crowd. Now she's bedless on the bathroom sink. Her mother would be so proud. Gets on a deed and there's a line to go pee, but the bathroom looks like a war zone.
Welcome in to episode 73 of Phired Up, presented by Belly Up Media. Check them out at bellyupsports.com. You can also check out all the good content we have going on our site, firedupsports.com. Always looking to ramp up the coverage of Eagle seasons here. I'm Mike Gilletto. Joining me today is Don from Drunk on Broad, one of the many members of the Drunk on Broad. You guys are just adding every day now. It seems like.
Hey, listen, we're trying to build a brand, but listen, I can only hope to fill the Fred Astaire bowling shoes of one Dom Console. So I'm here for it all.
Yes, absolutely. Dom is he's bowling right now, so he says the people bowling with him take like forever. He expected usually on Tuesday nights to be home around 9:30, 10 o'clock. He's not getting home till like 10:30, 11. He said they're very late nights.
Is it a bunch of guys his age, or are they like?
I'm not sure. I think he's bowling with friends. I think.
I need more info.
Okay, we'll try to find that info out.
I need at some point. I need a Dom bowling segment. I need him to break down some bowling highlights.
Okay, absolutely. Well, yeah, we'll have to have him have like a GoPro or something. We'll figure something out. You could vlog from the bowling alley.
Oh God, that would be great.
I debated asking him to come live, during it, but it's probably loud. It's probably a mess there. But before we get into some birds talk, I have to tell everybody about Manscaped. Welcome to Fresh Ball Fall. It's the season of pumpkin spice and making sure your crotch looks nice. That means sipping cider in a fall breeze and using Manscaped products to trim your balls with ease. That's right. Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, the company here to make sure that your foliage isn't the only thing shedding its excess leaves. Heck, even Mother Nature knows it's time to lose the excess clutter for fall. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off, plus free shipping with the code FIREDUP. Whether you're brand new or already with us at Manscaped, you could use the crown jewel of care for your family jewels, the Platinum Package 4.0. With this glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine all in one swoop. Inside the 10-part Platinum Package is everything you needed, everything you know and love about the performance package, plus some shower goodies included to elevate your grooming game to platinum. The Lawnmower 4.0 body trimmer, a weed-whack nose and ear hair trimmer, feature the proprietary advanced skin-safe technology to protect your delicate parts and holes. Both are waterproof, so you can keep scaping even as the weather's changing. In addition to shaving, you can now completely upgrade your shower routine with the Ultra Premium Body Wash and Ultra Premium 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. You'll have your skin and hair feeling hydrated and smelling fresh. Don't forget to apply the aluminum-free Ultra Premium deodorant, and don't worry, it's not pumpkin spice. It's a cologne-quality fragrance. What's wrong with pumpkin spice? Smells delicious, tastes delicious, whatever. But we shouldn't save a signature scent for our pits. Use Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner to make sure your go-to smell is top shelf and not sweaty balls. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Platinum Package 4.0, the Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag, both specifically made to hold your goodies. Get the Platinum Package this fall. These products are guaranteed to be a hit for your dangly bits. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code FIREDUP. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code FIREDUP at manscaped.com. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine. So there you go. A lot of good stuff going on there, Manscaped.
No pun intended. That was a mouthful.
It was. You know what? I'm gonna have to start like pre-recording them and just hit a button.
All right, so little behind the scenes. So our buddy Chip from AAT Birds, right?
Yeah, okay. There he is. Checking in.
Little behind the scenes story. So when I used to do shows with him and he would play, they would pre-record it. And
I'm gonna have to start doing that.
Do the videos. Oh my God. I would be behind the scenes, like the little video screen down the bottom.
Yep.
And literally just be falling out of the chair with some of the stuff he would come up with. It was incredible.
Dude, the Manscaped brand is so great. Their branding is incredible.
It's and easy to work with, I assume. I don't have a whole lot of experience with them.
No, their team's been great to us, so I have no complaints at all. The products are really good, so no complaints at all. Let's get into the birds.
Speaking of good products,
exactly. We have a tradition on our show. Every time the Eagles win, I'm trying to get it locked and loaded. My iPad was dead and just turned on about 30 seconds ago. So let's see if I can do it. There we go.
Here we go.
Every time the Eagles win, we play this song.
Listen, it got played enough last night, man. That was
absolutely.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
I'm sure they were on the verge of running out of fireworks on the top of the stadium, trying not to blow up the wind turbines on the top of the stadium.
Right, exactly. 24-7, and I'll be honest, it just seemed like the Eagles were in control the whole game.
I'm actually surprised when I went back to look at the box score that there were no points scored in the second half.
Yeah.
Because they legit controlled the ball, whether they were turning the ball over and making the stops deep in their zone a couple times they get turnovers. But they were dominant start to finish. It was wild to watch because I was expecting more of back and forth kind of shootout, them kind of trade points.
Yep. Yeah, and the one thing that I feel like is the big story about it, and I've come on week after week for the last 2 years or however long it's been, I've been a real skeptic of Jalen Hurts. He's starting to he played his best game as an Eagle on Monday night. I thought he was spectacular. I have literally zero complaints about Jalen Hurts' game.
I mean, between the games that he's played at Alabama, Oklahoma, and now, you could probably say that that was probably his best game ever. Yep. The lone mistake, the turnover deep in the zone on a play that you could say is, what are you calling that play at that point in the game? Why are they just running the ball, run the clock, control the ball? Because they had controlled the ball the entire time. I look at them and I go, this is exactly what you need to see. So we were saying from day one, you got to put him in every situation. I don't care if they're up big, down big, if they're third long, whatever it is, you have to be able to put him in every position possible because you have to see if you're going to get the franchise guy. And if you get anything close to that the rest of the season, this team is dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. And my biggest criticism, even back last week with the Lions game, is I don't want a quarterback that relies on running the ball. But on Monday night against the Vikings, I didn't see him rely on it. I saw him use it as an asset, and he would get out of the pocket, see a receiver, and was decisive with the football, knew exactly where he wanted to put it, and put it there. I really, really like what I saw from Jalen Hurts.
I agree.
So,
I agree. It's the kind of thing where you got to see what you want to see.
Yep.
And pleasantly surprised, right? Throws for 330 yards,
yep.
333 yards, a touchdown, runs for 2, makes good decisions with the ball.
Yeah, and the people, especially, again, I'm one of them that says he doesn't have the arm strength. He told me to pound sand when he throws one deep to Quez Watkins. You know what I mean? So
truly,
he did it all. He did it all. I was truly impressed. And I kind of do want to pump the brake. I know I've heard a little bit of early MVP talk. Slow down a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't think we're there yet. But yeah, I can't stress enough. I loved everything about Jalen Hurts on Monday night.
I mean, how could you not? I mean, that's
right.
You are looking at exactly what this team needs, right? And not to look forward a little bit, right? But the more that you find out about Hurts now, the more that you can think about how you can invest those 2 first-round picks next year.
Yep, absolutely.
And the crappier and crappier the Saints play, the better and better that pick becomes.
Absolutely.
And if you look at how they're starting to invest those picks into proven talent with guys that are coming from top-notch programs, I mean, the last 2 drafts are basically cherry picking the top part of, Alabama and Georgia.
Yep.
You look at how they can cherry pick that talent, man. You're looking at this team is going to be. Do I dare throw Howie Roseman a bunch of bouquets, man? He has done a masterful job at reshaping this roster instantaneously.
Dom's checking in. Send me the invite. I'll jump on for a minute. All right, I'll have to do that.
All right, here we go.
We'll work on that. But I did want to stay with the offense a little bit. Miles Sanders, 17 attempts, 80 yards. The first 2 games, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Miles Sanders. He seems like he's running angry, like he's running with a purpose. You know what I mean? I really like what I see from Miles Sanders as well.
I mean, he had a great game. 17 carries, 80 yards.
Yep.
He's averaging. They had 2 between him and Hurts, right? Hurts had 11 for 57, right? So both of them are averaging right around 5 yards a carry. I mean. You have to like what you saw out of Miles Sanders, considering you think about how much of an asset he's going to be, right? When you can run the RPOs and the play action, the more successful he is, the more that you're going to see those pass plays like you saw where Quez gets behind the defense, because they can only pinch so much, right? They can only come up to try to stop the run so much. And I think even Mike, to look at to go back to Hurts for a second, right? You saw a couple of times where things that we saw in the first week where it was one read and drop and go and just run and get the first down, which was great because it extended drives. But at the same time, what I saw yesterday was him kind of slide, go more horizontal, and look to get the ball down the field.
Absolutely.
That, to me, is the progress that you need in order to be able to make then every weapon more of an asset.
Yeah, and I like the game plan, whether it was from Hurts or Sirianni. The fact that you look at the box score from a week ago against the Lions and you see Devontae Smith with 0 catches. The first guy that they go to, Devontae Smith, they got him catches early and often. So I like the idea of. I feel like in general this is going to be an offense that kind of spreads the ball. There's a lot of weapons. There's a lot of people that can touch the ball. But you acknowledge we didn't get him many touches last week. Let's change that this week. And I feel like they kind of made that a focal point early in the game.
Listen, I would agree. Like that, they made it a point to control the clock.
Yep.
We were talking about it last week on our show. We look at the key to that game, and we saw it even in the response to our game day poll, right? The focus had to be on the offense, on the line, right? To get pressure on Cousins, but also to create lanes and space for the running game.
Absolutely. Here's Dom now.
Live and direct.
Can you hear us? Dom, can you hear us? We're having technical difficulties. Oh, and he's out, just like that. That didn't last long.
That did not. No, it didn't last long. But funny. I'm looking at how can I think about what this team needs to do moving forward, right? So I'm liking what I see in terms of right? Week 1, they have a game where they get up early, but they don't put the team away. The next week, you can see that they're kind of learning from those mistakes because they get up early, right? And then the defense steps on the neck, right? And outside of a couple, they were able to overcome missteps, right? When they have the block field goal, right? Who would have thought that the play of the game is made by Aaron Sipas, right?
Hell of a tackle.
Right? Hell of a tackle running the guy, running. But think about the momentum swing that might give the Vikings, right? That puts them within 10.
Yep.
If they return that for a touchdown, right? And now that game, that could swing real fast. Like we've seen games like even this weekend, right? Look at that. Not to speak of a crappy franchise, right? But look at the Jets.
Yeah.
Right. The Jets have, Joe Flacco, who goes off for he had close to 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
That whole game was wild.
Yeah. Right. But that game, right, you would have thought that game was over.
Yep.
Right. And so the momentum, that field can tip and swing instantaneously. And it takes one play like that. But when they have those turnovers, right, the guy that I think we need to switch bait and talk about is Slay. Slay,
unreal, yeah.
To me, proved to me that he's worth every penny.
Absolutely. Two interceptions, right? 2 interceptions.
Had 2. Probably could have had 5.
And he shut down Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I mean, like when I look at the stats, right? Jefferson
he had 6 catches for 48 yards.
Right? But when he was covered by Slay,
I think it was 2 catches, I believe.
He had 1 catch.
1 catch, okay.
And Slay had 2.
Right. That is kind of wild, actually.
While he's covering Slay, he had more catches than Slay.
Yep.
Right? So,
now
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, the fact that they only did limit the Vikings to 7 points, again, they have weapons. They have Cook. They have Jefferson. They have Thielen even. Are we taking Gannon off the hot seat, or do you think they kind of got bailed out by some bad drops here and there?
I mean, listen.
Dom's coming back in. Let me try this again. And then,
Dom.
That. Dom, can you hear us now?
Yes.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we got you.
Live and direct from the bowling alley.
I need bowling breakdown.
Not well. It's not going well. Leave it at that.
Okay. That's all you want to leave it to, huh?
48. I got 48 through 5 frames. Not bad.
Okay, what did you do? This is the 3rd game?
Yeah.
What did you do the first 2 games?
I don't want to talk about that one. The second game, a lot better. We don't put out numbers here.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Unless it was like a 280.
I gotta get Mike in here.
Hey, there he is, Mike. What's going on, brother?
I'm the one who hooked this up, by the way.
There you go.
Nice.
You ever need a tech or an IT guy, I'm on call.
I just hit a spare right before I came on. I'm a jack of all trades.
There we go.
Nice.
He's podcasting live from the bowling alley.
So what are we talking about here?
We're talking about the Birds. Give us your thoughts about everything that happened in the game.
I liked what I saw. I won't nitpick too much. I actually thought the deep pass Jalen Hurts was a little underthrown. No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, what? Really? We're going that? That's
it actually kind of was.
Hold on. I gotta turn the hat around for that one.
But it's fine. I really like to see the defensive line get a little bit more pressure. At least hit the quarterback. But other than that, it was great. A great game.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Also, I mean, I can't stay too much longer because I'm almost up. But dude, how fucking funny is it that Sean Couturier gets paid and then he just can't stay healthy?
I mean, I wasn't going to talk about it, but yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to. The Flyers are a mess before the season even starts.
Yeah.
So.
We got to think of a slogan
nice.
for next year.
The Flyers.
What's that?
Yeah, for Connor Bedard, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they should be a bottom 3 team.
Even if they're the worst team in the league, they'll get the 5th pick, so it doesn't really matter.
It's accurate, yeah.
And that's why we love Philly sports.
Here, I'll let Mike jump on. I gotta go.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Jump on. I will.
Oh god.
Oh, he got paid and he got hurt.
Oh.
Mike,
What's
Mike,
up,
what's
guys?
going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Give us your thought. What do you want to talk about while you're waiting for Dom here?
Well, Dom set it up. He said the Couturier thing, getting paid all that money and now going out getting hurt. I'm actually pissed off about that, too. I thought the Flyers actually, I mean, you know, looking on paper, they're going to look like crap, but, I mean, sometimes that can be better for us. You never know. You know, if they're going to look like crap on paper, then they have something to actually play for. Didn't they do that once before? That was my whole sentiment. I just wanted to get that in there.
It's true. No, I do like that. You got the Torts angle, so hopefully, you know, maybe he can get them playing better, but I still think they're going to suck. That's just my honest opinion.
I was a little hesitant when they announced him as the head coach, and then when I saw the passion of it, I'm like, wait a minute. This guy's going to bitch out anyone that tries to pussy out on the team. But it's just like, I keep forgetting.
The kids are in bed. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. The kids are in bed.
You've heard our show.
You've heard our show.
Remember, I'm in bowling mode, okay?
Yeah,
so give me one pass. But seriously, though, it was funny because it's like, you know, he's on the team, and it's like he's going to bitch out anybody that's being a pussy or not playing it up to their par and call out the bad apples. You know, all right, fine. Couturier got hurt. Let's see what he can do. I mean, look at the rookie game they had the other night against the Rangers. Like, they looked great. And then they let up a soft goal, which, I mean, okay, fine. You're up 4-0, and you let a soft one 4-1. But at least some of them looked good. There were some good passes. They were watching the ice. They were actually paying attention. And there was a couple hits, which is shocking for a game like that. They don't normally hit.
Yep. And Tyson Forrester's a stud. He really is.
Amen on that one.
Yeah.
Listen, it's only up from here.
Yeah.
Right? There's not really a lower level to go to at this point. So there's only optimism, which is only as good as the next day's starting quarterback. So
don't ask Dom what he just bowled.
Yeah, apparently.
I said don't ask him what you just bowled.
Apparently, it's been rough for him. He won't disclose what happened in game 1 and 2 from him. Can you give us a little sort of knowledge here?
I won't break both those.
I won't break.
I respect it.
I'll boast for a second. I shot a 247, highest game so far in this league, so I'll take it.
That's nice. I'm lucky if I break 125 when I'm bowling.
I'll be honest, and Dom will attest to this. We're a work in progress. I'm trying to help the guy and make sure that he's bowling better. You know, I gave him one correction on what he was doing wrong already, and sure enough, the next shot is like it was a solid 9 count. It could have been a strike, but it was, whatever. But he's getting better.
Nice. I like it.
I mean, come on. This is what bowling's all about. You may be great, you may suck, but at least you're still out here having fun, right?
Having fun, exactly.
Rome wasn't built in a day, exactly.
Exactly. Does Dom have anything to get off his chest before we let you guys go?
Dom, you got anything else to get off your chest?
Me?
Yeah,
no, I'm good.
He said he's good.
All right.
I will say this, though. I'm hoping that the Flyers definitely do go because, I'm a diehard Flyers fan.
Absolutely.
That's what I've been. But, I'll say this. If they open the season strong, I'll be impressed. But I wouldn't be surprised for a limp in the beginning and then finally get it together. But, it's still – we'll see. I mean, with Tortorella behind the bench, there's definitely going to be some passion there. Now it's just a matter of who's going to be passionate.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who can we look on that team to really shine? I agree with your comment earlier about being a stud.
Yeah,
Mike, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna take it to the poll question from your Fired Up.
Yep.
Does Ryan Ellis play at all?
A single game? I don't think so.
Yeah,
a single game?
I don't think so.
That's a tough call. I'm gonna side with Mike to a degree. There's a slim shot in hell that might happen, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, neither do I.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I voted no.
Yeah, it's tough, especially with the news that came out today or the report that came out that there's no update basically. He's not with the team. He's not skating. There's nothing. This injury happened last October. It's going on a year.
Yeah, and it's a little disheartening for us Flyers fans to see crap like that, and it's just like, tell us something.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just like we want to, the diehard fans want to be behind it, but it's just like how can we be behind it? You're not telling us jack shit.
Right.
Absolutely.
Even if you say okay, he's doing better and slightly day to day, but what? Give us something. Even a leak. Even some bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously,
I agree.
Been dead
I agree.
quiet.
Yep.
It's been dead quiet.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And that's the only thing that honestly is worrying me. And I like Tortorella will definitely probably not say much about it, but eventually give it time. I know he's going to say something.
They're going to have to say something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy. But all right, we'll let you get back to bowling.
Yeah, I'm up now anyway, so.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk to you guys later.
Take care, fellas.
Hey, at least it was fun. It was casual.
Absolutely.
There we go.
That took a detour.
There we go. Who thought we were talking about the Flyers?
Yeah, I didn't expect it to take a turn like that. I actually had a Flyers thing to talk about at the end, and it was basically that conversation. So that doesn't have to happen anymore. So
there we go.
So Eagles, we get back to Eagles. I forget what we were kind of talking about.
Most surprising stat for me.
Yep.
The fact that they were able to hold down and Cook to 17 yards.
Yeah. Surprisingly, they only gave him seven rushes, like seven attempts.
You would have thought if they had turned on the Lions tape,
yeah,
and they saw DeAndre Swift getting wherever he wanted to, because the offensive line for the Vikings is comparable, if not better than the Lions.
Yep.
I just don't see, and I don't get the defense that the Vikings played. They basically played like lay back, cover two all night, and just let them get underneath all night long.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was a very lazy game plan.
Yeah, like that's a weird thing about like football in week 1, 2, 3. Like, are the Vikings as good as they looked against Green Bay, or does Green Bay just suck? Right? Or is the Vikings as that team, or are the Vikings down low? Like nobody knows what these teams are yet. You know what I mean?
True.
So. They're probably I think they're somewhere in between how good they looked in week 1 and how mediocre they looked in week 2 against the Eagles. But
you're right. It's probably somewhere in the middle.
Right, and credit to the Eagles. And back to my question, because I did ask you a question before Dom jumped on there. Are we kind of letting off blame from Jonathan Gannon when it comes? I mean, they only let up 7 points against a team that has weapons. So, but they did get bailed out when it came to drops, or they dropped a lot of. They look like the 2019 Philadelphia Eagles. Like they just kept dropping balls left and right. So
yeah, for me, he's not off the hot seat.
Yep.
For him to be the guy moving forward, I need to see continued progression throughout the rest of the season. I have to see the adjustments that they made from week 1 to week 2. I need to see those adjustments week to week. I need to see less of Hassan Reddick in coverage, because that is a train wreck. Like, put that dude in a space where he can rush the passer and let him do what he does well, what he did well in Arizona.
Yeah.
Stop putting him in a position where he's got they had the tight end, and I'm gonna butcher this dude's name, but Johnny Munt, right? Basically got wherever he wanted to go if Hassan Reddick was covering him.
Yeah.
Like, there's a play where it's not a complicated route, but he goes towards the sideline, cuts back towards the middle, and Hassan Reddick looked like he was on skates.
Yeah.
So I want to see week to week getting better. And to be honest, I want to see more of Jordan Davis.
I was about to ask that, because he didn't really play much in the first game. Didn't really play much this game either.
I actually went, I was scrolling through Twitter trying to figure out if he was not playing, because he was on the sidelines. I'm trying to figure out, was there something going on where he wasn't playing? Is the conditioning bad? Is there something that I'm missing here? Because when he was on the field, that stat went wild where he was on the field. It was 2.6 yards per rush. But when he was off the field, it was
10 and a half.
It was 10 and a half.
Yeah.
I need to see more of that guy. But I was actually, when I was running through the highlights this morning, trying to put that together, I was I'm trying to look and see, all right, he's not in on this play. He's not in on this play.
So
do you know how many plays?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. This is the right game, right? Yes, he had 21 snaps.
All right, so it's almost exactly what he played the week before. I think the week before it was 22 snaps.
Yeah.
So he's playing a third of the snaps. I mean, the defensive line was incredibly effective last night. They were able to stop the run. So that, do you get a pass? Like, do you give him a pass? Like,
right, because when they're not as effective. The run's not as effective. You're not going to blame the defensive line. Like, the not playing Jordan Davis stands out when you let DeAndre Swift run all over you up and down the field. Like that, then it stands out. So, yeah, I would like to see more Jordan Davis, and I think eventually you will. I think you'll see more of him. I think eventually down the line you'll see more Nakobe Dean. Like, I think you'll see these young guys. I think they're just trying to give them time to kind of adjust to life in the NFL.
It could be. I mean, it's hard to put Nakobe Dean on the field right now, considering, TJ Edwards, Kaiser White, right? They're those guys that they brought in, those guys that they brought in are playing really well.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's kind of, you're in a spot where it's like, okay, yes, it's good because he can learn from these guys. At the same time, you want to be able to see glimpses of opportunities where he can be on the field, because you saw how effective he was at basically the highest level of college football. I mean, he was able to run all over the field. He was able to let Jordan Davis eat 3 guys at one time and just kind of sneak on the backside of him and kind of rush the passer. I'm hoping what you're saying kind of plays out, where, like, progressively throughout the year, you start to increase the snaps and you're able to get him on the field more.
Yeah, especially, like, I mean, Fletcher Cox led the defensive line in snaps. He had 40. Can you expect that in week 8, 9, 10 from an aging Fletcher Cox? You know what I mean? So I think eventually Jordan Davis is going to have to play more snaps.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense to maybe play him early now, and then maybe taper that off so that it's maybe you get to a point where it's like 30 and 30.
Right. So I think it could be effective that way. Just kind of rotate them in and out. Because, I mean, as much shit as Fletcher Cox got last year and in the offseason, like, he's still productive, especially when he has guys around him that can kind of open more space for him. He's still productive, especially, like, in the run. So, yeah, and I think it makes sense to kind of rotate them.
He still gets to the quarterback.
He does. Yeah, I think he had one sack in week 1, right? He didn't get one this one, did he?
He had a funky week 1. I think he did have one this week. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But, like, his play was a little funky in week 1.
He did have a sack. There you go.
But he did. Okay. So, although a funky week, he's still getting to the quarterback, and he's still being productive. So, like, I don't know. It's just hard. But I'm looking at this lineup, right? And you're getting production from everybody up and down the line, right? If you look, if we go to the back end, right? I mean, we don't have to throw any more bouquets at Slay, man. He was all over the field, locking down everybody. Thielen doesn't get a catch until the 4th quarter, right? But CJ, GJ, right?
CGJ, GJ. R2D2 is my nickname on the show.
All right.
It's just a lot easier. It's a lot easier. It's 4 initials. It's easier.
Right. He plays well. I think his aggression.
He's a dog. He's as advertised, I think.
He is going to, as soon as this city gets to know him, he is going to fit right in.
Absolutely.
Like, they got, and you look at the production that you get from James Bradbury.
Yep.
Right. You're getting, he had a couple of deflected passes. He could have had an interception, right? Avonte Maddox has the interception last night. Like, you're getting, you're getting that production all up and down that lineup. And a lot of those guys are guys that Howie Roseman brought in.
Yeah.
It's hard to argue with the way that he's been able to build their roster.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the thing that people keep talking about is this roster in general and where they kind of stack up among the other teams in the NFC. And you look at the other teams, like, the Bucks look beatable. Like, they don't look like the same Bucks team from a year or two ago. Like, who else in the NFC? Even the Rams got blown out by the Bills in week 1. I know the Bills are great. They're probably
all right. Contenders, so I got burned in that game.
Which one? The week 1?
I got burned in fantasy in the Buffalo game. I had Josh Allen.
Okay.
I'm playing against a guy who had Stephon Diggs.
Okay, that's rough.
I was up, Mike. I was up by 43 points going into that game. He scores 44 and a half. Just him.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it's
like
brutal.
It was brutal, but
so you lost a tight one because I wasn't even going to bring up the Golden Mike League. It's a little touchy subject. I lost by 0.2. I lost by 0.2 of a point.
Stop it.
Yep. 0.2 of a point I lost by. It was brutal. One more carry to Miles Sanders, one catch to Devontae Smith, and maybe I have a win. So.
Oh my God. But like if you look at the top of the NFL, right? Tampa looks pedestrian, right? Is it bad to say that Tom Brady looks kind of like Joe Montana, Kansas City-ish, right?
It's weird if he doesn't have it anymore, or if his mind is clearly somewhere else, like the family issues and all that stuff on the side. I'm curious how much of it is that he doesn't have it, or he's just got stuff going on.
Is it weird to say it's probably a little bit of both?
Could be
a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Right. He's what, 45?
Yep.
Still in better shape than any one of us.
Yeah. Oh, right? For sure. Yeah.
But like,
they also don't have Arians anymore. I don't know how much that plays a factor.
And I think there was a lot of why he went there was because there was a connection with Arians that he didn't have with Belichick, where Arians kind of was like more towards him than he was.
Yeah, but weren't there rumors that like Brady came back? If the only way Brady was coming back was if Arians left, like it didn't. There was some sort of rumor where like he wanted Arians out. So the whole thing's weird to me. The whole retiring and then unretiring and.
Well, and don't forget that whole debacle with the Dolphins, right?
Yeah,
where the Dolphins owner essentially is throwing games, but on the side offering Tom Brady partial ownership in the franchise, and like. It's that
a lot of weird stuff. Yeah.
A ton of weird stuff. But like if I look at like the top of the NFC, right?
I mean, yeah, who is there?
Like right now, right? The Eagles and Tampa, right? So you ready for this? The 3 teams in the NFC that are 2-0.
I know the Giants are 1.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa. You said there's one more? Well, the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody else is 1-1 or 0-2.
Yep.
Right. So like, obviously, like Minnesota doesn't scare me a whole lot. San Francisco is right behind Minnesota, and now, right, Jimmy G. They'll probably be better with Jimmy G than they were with Trey Lance.
Probably, but we've seen them with Jimmy G before, like.
Correct. Right, and that team doesn't scare me a whole lot. Right. I think at some point that the Rams shake themselves out. Right?
Yeah,
and they
I think
move to the top of the West.
And then what are the Cowboys when Dak comes back?
Are they even relevant?
Yeah,
right.
Right.
Do they is what you see from Cooper Rush enough to be able to keep them, from treading water at this point? Because
1-0.
yeah, 1-0.
1-0 with them. Yeah.
Which
is it? What's wrong with the Bengals?
Oh, good God!
You know what I mean?
Talk about like a bunch of like bad luck.
Yeah.
Right. They have the game in week 1 where, between the end of the fourth quarter and overtime, nobody wants to win the game. They kick a bunch of field goals that are either missed or go off the upright. And then they give up a field goal at the end of that game to lose.
Which the fact that they were even in that position just shows me how bad Pittsburgh is, because I think the Bengals had like 4 turnovers. Like if you have 4 turnovers, you're usually winning the game bad. Or I'm sorry, losing the big game bad. But they were in it all the way, even with the amount of turnovers they had in that first week.
But like I'm trying to look at the stats, right? The Cowboys had, they sacked Joe Burrow 5 times.
Yeah.
Like he is getting murdered.
I mean, that's been the knock on Cincy really last couple of years. Like, they should have got an offensive lineman at the top of that draft. They get Jamar Chase. Now, Jamar Chase is an incredible talent, incredible player. But I wonder if they're kind of kicking themselves to not addressing the line sooner.
I mean, I think at some point, if you want Joe Burrow to stay upright,
to survive, right,
or to feel like regardless of Jamar Chase, I got to go somewhere. Like, is he a guy that moves on and just says this team is never going to surround me with any guys that are going to keep me upright? Yeah. I'm just going to go. I don't know. I mean, Cincinnati will always be able to be a franchise that will be able to pay him the most money.
Yeah,
because he'll be there. They'll franchise tag him multiple years in a row. I don't know. I don't know what you do with them.
It's just crazy. They go from, a win away from a Super Bowl win, and now they're 0-2, and things look like they're a mess in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, and I saw a stat that teams that start the season 0-2, it's like 11% of them make the playoffs.
Really, that's a low percentage.
It's a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 25%, but like teams that are teams that start the season 0-2, it's like 11%.
Yeah,
which if you look at the standings right now, right, you're looking at like teams that would surprise me that are 0-2. Surprises me that Vegas and Cincinnati. Doesn't surprise me that Indy is 0-1-1. Right, that Houston doesn't have a win. Tennessee doesn't have. The Jaguars are the only team in that division that have a win.
Yeah. Yep. The Indy one surprises me a little bit because of who they played. Right, like week 1 they played. They tied to Houston, and then week 2 you play Jacksonville and you get blown out. Maybe Wentz wasn't the problem last year.
And Matt Ryan looks like his worst days are behind. Like, he's just I was surprised. I thought he would go there and be a lot more successful, but he's looked terrible.
He's looked bad. Yep. I'm looking at because I'm looking at the NFC, and I mean, nobody scares me. I mean, the Saints. We hope they, fall.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucs. I mean, the Giants, one of the only 2-0 teams. The Giants don't scare. Like Daniel Jones doesn't scare me.
No, God, no.
I mean,
the only team that truly scare me, right? If I look at like whole picture, are the Rams, and maybe Arizona.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe Arizona if they can hold it together until Hopkins comes back, and then
which I think week 7, right? I think he's suspended for 6 games, so I think he's back week 7.
But I look at that and I look at and I see, I don't, Rodgers to me seems uberly frustrated. The fact that he's got a bunch of young guys that are dropping a whole lot of balls. That's what she said.
Yeah, there you go. Manscaped.com now. But yeah, the Rodgers thing is weird to me because I expected him to just go nuts this year. I expected him to be like, I don't have Devontae Adams. That's fine. I'm going to prove everybody I don't need Devontae Adams. But they've been a mess. They've been a mess.
It's bad. But I'm curious to see how this season starts to play out.
Yep.
Because I'm starting to feel a lot better about where the Eagles are in terms of where they position themselves to be able to make a run. And considering the way that their schedule starts, right? They're catching a lot of breaks early, right? They're going to catch Arizona without Hopkins.
Yep.
And Arizona looks, kind of not like, like very, very unimpressive.
They play nice this week. They played Vegas this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had a nice win, but their defense isn't the same that as was last year. Like they're just not as good, I don't think.
No, and listen, Mike, what I'll look at like how does their defense match up with this offense?
Yeah.
Right. When you can put Brown and Smith and Goddard and Sanders and Quez and Pascal, some combination of all those guys, it's hard to match anybody up one-on-one. And if you double any of those guys, that means someone else is one-on-one, right? Yeah. You saw Goddard get into space. You saw Quez Watkins get behind the defense. You saw Sanders be able to kind of, get where he wanted to on the field. They're dangerous.
Yep.
What are your thoughts this weekend?
So you got the Carson Wentz revenge game.
Right. Now, listen, I don't know if you heard our first call ever to our Broad Street line
I
was somebody talking about a Carson Wentz revenge tour at 1:40 in week 1.
Yeah, I think I was listening live, and I said this guy's taking drunk on brawl literally.
Yes, yes.
Dude had a little too much to drink, while watching the Birds at 1:00.
Right. So they go down to Washington. There's a lot of people going down, from what I hear.
Yeah. I was trying to find it. You just mentioned the Broad Street line. What's the number for anybody that wants to call?
Pull it up. Hold on,
I was trying to pull it up. I couldn't find it.
All right, here we go. So if you want to call the Broad Street line, listen, I've been, and I apologize if you see the Drunk on Broad, the Broad Street line, and it looks like spam on your Twitter feed when I'm technologically assaulting anything related to Philly sports with it. Just trying to get it out there. But if you want to call, like, we're looking for anything sports related. You want to call if you're at the game, after the game, during the game, pre-game, you're pissed, you're happy, mad, sad, whatever. You're going to call 267-405-3062. And you're going to leave us a message. And then we'll play it on air and we'll talk about it. And we're either going to like it, talk shit about it, have fun with it. You want to have fun? We're here for it all.
And you get special guests calling. You had high Merrill Reese call last week. So.
Yes, we had Merrill Reese call. We had Merrill Reese call in. Maybe little intoxicated on the whiskey.
Something. Yeah, we don't know what. So when he made that call and he paused for a good 10 to 15 seconds and it just went, "Go Birds."
It was great.
I was cracking up. It was so funny.
And listen, if you got a good impersonation, we're here for that too. I'll take those.
Absolutely. Back to this weekend. So Washington, I don't think is very good. Wentz is putting up some decent numbers in the first 2 games, but he's still trying to throw games away. I mean, I know they just lost pretty bad to the Lions, but week 1, he tried real hard to give that game away to Jacksonville with a late interception. So I think Wentz is still going to make Wentz-type mistakes. And I think this defense is good enough. They showed it, especially against the Vikings. They can turn the ball. They can force turnovers. Right, Slay had a pair. The Maddox had one. They can turn the ball over, and I think they'll make Wentz pay. If Wentz makes any mistakes, which I think he will, yeah. I think they'll make him pay. I think they win pretty big on Sunday.
I think this game, if I read this game, I'm reading it a lot like this week.
Yep.
I think it's step on their neck early and often. I think you're going to see a handful of turnovers. I think this week, if I'm looking ahead, I'm thinking now let's try to capitalize on the turnovers, right? You got to turn those turnovers into points late in the game, right? Luckily, you don't score anything. Nobody scores in the second half of that game.
Yep.
But they dominated the ball on both sides.
Yeah.
I think you look at this game, I'm looking at, right, when you get that Slay turnover, you go down and you get 7, right? You get that Avonte Maddox turnover, you go down, you get 3, right? Because if this game, if they score any kind of points off any of those turnovers, right, this game is, 31, 35, 38, 7.
Right, yeah.
And it's a boat race and it's not even close. So I think if Wentz plays the way that he's played in week 1 and week 2, I think the opportunities for the turnovers are going to be there.
Yep. Yeah, I don't,
because he's going to play hero ball.
Oh, 100%.
We know that
against the Eagles, they are it's in Washington, so he's home. And for whatever reason, it seems like I don't know what the record says, but it seems like Washington always plays the Eagles kind of tough.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously division games, so things are different in the division, but I don't think this is going to be close. I'm thinking a 34-10 Eagles victory. I don't think.
Yeah, I think something in that neighborhood. I think you're looking at, let's call it a 2.5 touchdown win.
Yeah.
Right. Something in the neighborhood of a win. 17 points. I think they take care of it early and often.
Yeah, the Eagles are a 6.5-point favorite right now. It seems low, but then I guess you think Washington's home, and you get like 3 points for being home, and it's essentially a 9.5-point spread. So I guess it makes sense, but it just seems a little close.
Yeah, it's a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
considering how dominant they played just last night.
Right.
But I think that you're going to see Charlie try hard.
Yep.
I think he's going to press to try to do stuff. So I think, right, but if I look at their skill positions, right, if I have James Bradbury and Darius Slay, right, the guy that I got to stop, right, I want to make sure I take care of Gibson, right? I want to make sure I take care of Jahan Dotson. You know, they have guys that are going to get on the field that are skill positions that are good players. But I think when I match our defense up with their offense, right, if this defense can take care of and shut down Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and Darren Cook, right, I'm not worried about Washington.
Yeah, it becomes a question of, can you do what you just did to Justin Jefferson to Terry McLaurin?
True. That was a guy I couldn't think of.
Yep. I mean, because he's our number one guy. He's a playmaker. You know, dude's a stud. But can they do what they did to Jefferson and Thielen and shut down Terry McLaurin? Because you remove McLaurin, and they still have Gibson, who's kind of like, it's weird what they're doing to Gibson. He's like half running back, half receiver. Like, I know they put him in the receiving, the slot sometimes, but
I think it's Debo-ish.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe Debo light.
Like the reverse Debo. Like this Gibson started as a running back, and now they're moving him kind of all over the field. But yeah, it's very odd. But it was once you shut down McLaurin, I think their offense gets very stale.
I agree. I like it.
Anything else birds wise you got? Because we're going to talk about a subject that it's a lot more depressing.
Yeah. Listen, we started off good. Right, we started off with the best topic.
Yep.
We can talk about the September Phillies.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the verge of losing 10 in a row. I'm sorry, 5 in a row.
Feels like 10 in a row.
It feels like 10 in a row. I said 10 because they actually scored 10 runs in this game, and they're still losing 14-10.
14-10.
To the Blue Jays. I haven't looked at pitching. I know Gibson got hit around early. I don't know what it's been like since. If anybody's scoreboard watching out there, the Brewers are winning in the 7th, so the Brewers have a chance to be only a game and a half out of the wild card spot, the third wild card spot of the Phillies after tonight. They could be a game and a half out. The September collapse apparently is a real thing.
A little too close for comfort. Right.
You talked 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, Phillies are a lock to make the playoffs.
Right. Listen, we were knocking the dust off the bunting in the closet that's been locked up for 10 years. Right. Even though they weren't going to play a home game. Yep. Right. You still dress the city up. Absolutely. Because we haven't had Red October in a decade.
Yep.
So that for me, that's a long time ago. That's a lot of hair. That's a lot of hair ago. I used to have hair.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Exactly.
It's so frustrating. The injuries have not helped them.
No.
Right. They lose Wheeler for a portion of time. They lose Castellanos for a portion of time. They obviously lost Harper for that large portion of the season.
That's when they were playing their best, though. Like, I don't want to blame Harper for anything.
And that's wild.
Yeah, exactly. You lose the MVP of baseball a year ago, and for somehow they play better. Now, I don't know if that's kind of rallying around each other and maybe you just play better in spite of losing Harper, but the fact that they've been playing this bad when Harper gets inserted into the lineup is so confusing to me.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It doesn't make sense that you bring him back in the lineup and now all of a sudden it derails, and now you're looking at where you had the opportunity. All you had to do during this stretch was play 500, not get swept. Don't get swept in Atlanta. Don't get blown out by the Blue Jays.
Yep.
Like,
And if they do indeed collapse for, I guess this would be, what, a third year in a row? Or 3 or 4? This one feels especially painful. Like, this one seems like the worst of it all, if it was to happen. Like, the fact that, it seemed like it was such a lock a few weeks ago.
I mean, you look at where they were coming off just in September, right? They take 2 out of 3 in Miami. They sweep Washington. They take 2 out of 3 from Miami, right? And you're like, okay, we're in a good spot. We got 3 with the Braves, 2 with the Blue Jays, 4 with the Braves at home, right? In that stretch, we got to take, those 9 games, we got to be like hovering around 500.
Yep.
Right. And now, I mean, they're going to be lucky if they squeak out 2 wins.
Yeah.
The way that they're playing now, not for nothing, but the way that Atlanta's playing, Atlanta is blowing the doors off of everybody. And to me,
good.
It's so hard because there's a lot of jealousy because they seem to eternally develop talent.
Yep.
They always have the next 20-year-old superstar. The
center fielder, I forget his name. He's probably rookie candidate.
I was just about to look him up because
I forget his name, but I know he's in the discussion for the NL Rookie of the Year.
It's hard. It's hard to look at them and be.
Well, then they find a guy like Strider also, who was coming out of the bullpen, starting the season, and he might be up for Rookie of the Year too. He's insane,
right? Oh God, between like Acuna, right? Acuna is a guy that they develop in house. Like the guy Michael Harris, Michael Harris, the guy.
Harris, yep.
And these guys are young, right? Acuna's 24, Harris is 21. Who else? Vaughn Grissom is another guy that they have. That's a young guy who's 21. They don't hold on to talent at all. No. They just they're like, oh, you're good, bring them up, right? Yeah. Which I hope might be kind of some insight into where the Phillies might be when they look at the pitching prospects that they have. When they look at guys that are dominating in Double A, and they're like, fuck it, just bring them up, let them pitch, let them play, and we'll kind of figure out what we have and just kind of ride with it.
Yeah, and the Braves just lost their best player to free agency. Like Freddie Freeman's not there anymore.
Well, yeah, and how crazy is it that you lose Freddie Freeman and you just replace him with a guy that for all intents and purposes, right? Matt Olson just kind of stepped into those shoes, and just kind of just ran with it, and is having, it's not having an MVP season, but he's certainly holding his weight, and he's being extremely productive in the middle of that lineup.
Absolutely. The age factor with the Braves is the reason why I'm more scared of the Braves in the future. Like, because you compare the Braves and the Mets. And as good as the Mets are, and they have once you get past Scherzer and DeGrom, who obviously aren't getting younger, right? They're kind of at the back 9 of their career. Once you move on from those guys,
right?
The Mets kind of aren't like anything special. And obviously, they still have Alonso and they still have a couple of nice young players. But once they lose the top 2 guys, I don't know that they're going to be able to sustain division titles every year. I think the Braves can.
Here's what they have that most teams don't, right? They've got a billionaire owner who is just going to spend, right? He's a guy who's been very upfront with just saying, I'm just going to sign whoever, right? And you look at the money that they're tossing around with some of these contracts, right? And at some point, that bad money is going to come back and bite them. But and Mike, we didn't even talk about a guy who's an MVP candidate, right? Austin Riley, right, is a guy who's in the MVP conversation. Ozzie Albies is another guy.
And Riley's only 26, 25? 25, yeah, right.
25. Like, these guys are all at the front end of their career.
Yeah.
And if I had to look at it now, right, I would say, to me, the Braves are the team that I want no parts of.
I agree.
I think it would be purely prophetic for the Phillies to match up with the Mets at some point in the playoffs in that first round, maybe.
Yeah.
And win, right? Having gotten smoked all year long and not be able to sit with the Mets at any part of the season in any series, and then win that series. Like it would be purely prophetic for this franchise to then match up with them after they've had that opportunity and not taken advantage of it all season long.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm just holding on. I'm holding on for dear life.
Yeah, it's kind of all we have. You know,
that's all we got.
We can't. And the fact that like they're gonna have another collapse when like the baseball added another playoff spot. Like, could you imagine if there wasn't that playoff spot and they're even further out, outside looking in type thing? But
like if they so right now, right, if there wasn't that last playoff spot, right, they would basically be tied with San Diego. San Diego would be up by half a game,
right,
for that last spot.
Yep.
But Milwaukee's 2.5 back, but by the end of the night, but then like after that, like San Fran is 10.5 back.
Yeah,
it's really Milwaukee, the Phillies, and San Diego, because the Braves are 11.5 above San Diego.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
So you mentioned Wheeler comes back and they're moving Syndergaard to the bullpen. Do you think that's the right choice? I mean, I understand Falter's been kind of a nice story. He's probably been one of their more consistent, better pitchers recently, but I don't know if I trust him.
Mike, at this point, Noah Syndergaard is essentially, how do I put this politely?
You don't have to. You don't have to be polite.
He's your rich man's Rich Conroy Sunday bar league softball pitcher.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy who is just throwing meatballs at this point.
Yeah.
When that one game that he pitches against the Nationals.
Yep.
Right, where he just gets hit around. I think he goes like 4 2/3, gives up a ton of earned runs. It's just hard. It's that part is just you were hoping to get a guy who was going to be able to eat innings.
Yep.
And turns out he's not. I mean, I can't say he's not as advertised. We knew what he was, right? He was a guy who was, a guy coming off of surgery, tail end of his career, hoping you're going to get productivity. Bailey Falter has been a guy that you're getting productivity from. So,
yep.
Yeah,
and when they made that trade, you kind of see, hey, you'll have Syndergaard the rest of the year, see how he does. Maybe you sign him to another 1-year deal after that. He could come in as your number 4 or 5 guy next year. But then moving him to the bullpen makes me think that's what they think of him, and there's no way they're signing him. I don't think.
No. And listen, to be truthful, right? What did they gave up a guy, a Double-A catcher, right, who was never going to play here. He was always going to be a trade prospect. Yep. You would have hoped that they maybe would have been able to flip him for a little bit more. At the same time, though, like, you took a swing, right? You took a swing at a guy that you thought was going to be productive. Yep. So.
Yeah, and speaking of Angels, trades or whatever, Brandon Marsh got hurt tonight, so hopefully that's not serious. He was running into the fence, and I don't know what he hurt. I haven't heard any sort of update.
Aaron Rowan stuff.
I don't know if it was as bad, but yeah, pretty much.
Oh God!
I didn't see it.
He's a guy I like.
I saw it. He's been hitting really well.
300, like since he's come to the Phillies. I saw the stat. It was like over 300. So like, I don't hate that. That to me,
And that's part of the game we really didn't expect. Like, we're like, all right, he's a good fielder. The bat's not there, but he's a good fielder. But the bat's been there.
Truly, right? Yeah. And if I look at that trade as a whole, right? If I say you got Syndergaard and Marsh for
Moniak was in there.
For Moniak and the Double-A catcher.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That's a win for me. I'm not. That's.
Which is weird. Moniak's in LA, like hitting bombs now. Like, dude just is a stud for them.
He just needed to be like. Listen, he just needed to be in a different spot.
Yeah.
It was just never. he was never going to be as productive as he possibly could have been in this lineup because I feel like they were asking more than he thought he could do.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure being that number 1 overall pick.
So being in California, now he's home, right? He's a California kid. He's closer to home. He's in a lineup where, it really doesn't matter wins or losses, right? Because they're at the bottom half of the AL. There's no pressure, right? He can just go out and play.
It's almost like the reverse Pujols, where Pujols breaks his entire career in St. Louis. He goes to LA where there's no pressure. He doesn't have any sort of, he's not playing for anything. They're always out of the playoffs. His numbers dip. And then he goes back to St. Louis as however old he is now, in mid to late 40s, probably mid 40s. And he's finally has something to play for again. He's chasing 700. They're in a playoff spot. And dude's raking again. It's crazy.
It's
you know
wild.
what I mean? So,
I've heard you guys talk about him a lot, right?
Yeah.
Pujols is a guy that I just love watching. He's just an incredibly professional player.
Yep.
Guy that you're only going to read about him on the sports page, right? He's just a guy who's just had just a really good career.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Is he 2 away now? Or is it 3? Two away from 700?
I believe he's 2 away. I think he's got 698.
Yeah. I hope it happens. He's got 2 weeks to do it. So.
Yeah, listen. If I'm St. Louis, right, he plays every day. He's a DH every day until he is, and if he doesn't do it in by the end of the season, then that's you can't say that you didn't give him every opportunity to do it. I think he would love to do it because he would love to retire and not have to go through another offseason and another spring training.
Just to play another 2 weeks.
To come back and play 2 weeks and say, I retired.
Right.
I wouldn't fault him for it, but I would think that he would want to go. He would want to be able to go out at the end of the season.
He is in the lineup tonight. They play in San Diego, so the game just started.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So he's actually a bet now. So there you go. Yeah, anything. There's nothing else Phillies talk about. Just hopefully they don't collapse. Hopefully they don't do the thing again. Because
keep my fingers crossed, right?
Exactly.
Hope it doesn't collapse. But
exactly.
Listen, if the Phillies collapse, then I don't even know how we kind of roll into Flyers. Good God.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean,
that's a whole nother debauch. That's a whole nother debauchery for a whole nother show for a whole nother day.
That is, yeah.
Because it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad on a lot of levels.
Yeah, I didn't expect much for the Flyers, but my expectations have gone down.
I have zero expectation.
Yeah.
I have zero expectation. I'm actually I'm not going into this season expecting anything.
Yeah.
I have zero expectations for them because at this point, right, they've done nothing to earn any time or fandom.
Yep.
They've done nothing to improve the team from where I sit.
Yeah. So
I'm just going to go in. I'll watch the games, but it's not appointment television. I'm not saying if there's anything else sports on, they will be demoted to the smallest device I got.
Yeah, I mean, I got the ESPN Plus, so I'll be watching. I might be watching other hockey games before I turn on the Flyers game. You know what I mean? It's just I'm excited that hockey's back. I don't know that I'm excited that the Flyers are back, which hurts me as a diehard Flyers fan.
Absolutely
it sucks.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, it sucks.
I am right there with you.
All right,
you got any fun stuff? You got any fun stuff?
No, I don't think so. I was just gonna ask if you had any. I know you guys do final thoughts on your show. Got any final thoughts you want to get out?
Oh God, listen.
And I'll put you on the spot here.
No, all right. So I'll pop on something that I mentioned at the end of our last show. Okay. I got in a YouTube rabbit hole.
I heard this.
All right. Have you heard of Harry Mack?
I have. Yes.
Oh my God, Harry Mack! If you have not checked out Harry Mack, go just Google it. Right, what this guy does lyrically so he does it on an app called Omegle, which is kind of like it's a little creepy. It's a little it's like chat room ish.
It's like a chat roulette type thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And he'll just ask people to give him like 3 random words, and then he puts a beat on and just goes on this barrage of rhymes and lyrics, and includes like he'd be talking about your Flyers stop sign in the back, and your headphones are red. You got a great couch in the back.
Right. Yep.
Like and it's just wild. But I got lost.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see skill level of that level. It's just it was pretty cool.
It's so impressive because I was literally just watching it yesterday or 2 days ago, and it's just so impressive how he can say what he's saying, and it's complex stuff too. It's not simple cat, hat, rat. Like, it's not like simple stuff. It's complex, but how he can say it and be thinking of the next line at the exact same time, it's wild to watch. Like it almost seems written because it doesn't seem like it's too. It's weird. It's so good.
If you were to just listen to it, it would appear scripted.
Right. Yeah.
But it is far from it. I'm gonna give you a TV show too.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Have
you seen Welcome to Wrexham?
I have not. No.
It's the show, so it's on FX. It's the show. It's like a behind the scenes show with Rob McElhenney.
Okay.
And he and Ryan Reynolds bought an English. Well, I shouldn't say not a Premier. They bought a professional soccer club in Wales, in the town of Wrexham. But their team is in like pretty much the last tier before you just get kicked out.
Okay.
So they started off at one point, played in like the Premier and Champions League, but like they got through the different levels. Like if you finish in the bottom 2, you get demoted to like the next league. So like all the players make less money, the team makes less money. But in order to get back into the next league, you have to like win that league to get back in to get into the next one. But it's kind of like a Hard Knocks-ish behind the scenes tour. But it's fun. It's a very easy watch, but it's fun.
Okay. It's like a real story documentary. Is it like a scripted
television? Okay, it's like a docuseries.
Oh,
so they actually, so I want to say last in 2020, maybe 21, they bought this team together. So like they have mutual ownership, but they had someone who was kind of like their caretaker of the team before they actually went over and started running. Like they had someone running like the day-to-day stuff of it.
Okay.
It was fun.
No, I'll have to check it out. I have a TV show. I'm not sure if you've watched it. But as a teacher in the Philadelphia area, Abbott Elementary, have you checked that out?
So it's on the list.
Okay.
It's on the list. I haven't gone to it. But I saw. Did you see the commercial in the middle of the Eagles game?
I did. Yes.
Night?
Yep.
Yeah, my wife and I were literally rolling when she's like, "Why are they cooking ribs in my parking spot? Somebody got to make that money for the kids."
Yeah. So the episodes are like 22 minutes long. It's on Hulu and HBO Max, I believe. But the new season comes out, I believe, this week. Season 1's on Hulu. I watched it like last week. It's really good. I definitely recommend it. It's really funny.
I'll have to check it out. Do you watch Cobra Kai?
I do not know. I kind of got in late to that. There's like 5 seasons of it now, right?
Yeah, there's a lot. But the episodes are short. They're like a half hour.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. It's on the list eventually. Everything's on.
That's a binge one. That's one you just throw on and just watch like 5 or 6 at a time.
So I just started tonight, right? Like earlier in the day, I started rewatching. I returned on The League. Have you ever seen The League?
Oh, that is a great show.
Nick Kroll and I'm drawing a blank on a couple of the other names, but I started rewatching that. It's so funny. It's so good.
So funny.
So.
Yo, Chris, what's going on? No, Mike, this has been a ton of fun, man.
I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I appreciate you joining, especially the last minute. Before we get out of here, a little bit of a score update. Philly's now down 18-10. Okay. But the Mets are now beating the Brewers 7-4.
Let's go.
So
Let's go Mets.
Mets. Oh, when's the last time you thought
Mets suck at the same time? You suck, but beat the Brewers.
Right. Exactly.
Yes, Chris. The Phillies also suck too.
It's rough times right now. It's rough times right now in Philly land. So, all right, again, Don, I appreciate you jumping on and doing
absolutely,
this.
Brother, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll see everybody next Monday. See ya.